There are rules, and then there are people who believe those rules don't apply to them. Warning signs, suggestions, safety barriers, obstacles to the perfect photo.
I know.
We've all seen them. The entitled, the arrogant, the ones who think they know better. But for some, that attitude wasn't just annoying, it was fatal. These are the stories of people who ignored every warning, climbed every fence, and opened every door they were told to keep shut. From a tiger enclosure in China to the cliffs of Australia, these are the Karens who died in the most horrifying ways imaginable. Case 1. The Battling Tiger Park. On July 23, 2016, a family was on an outing at the Battling Wildlife World in Beijing, China. In the car were a woman named Zhao, her husband, her young son, and her mother. It was supposed to be a typical family day out, observing majestic Siberian tigers from the safety of their vehicle in a drive-through enclosure. The dream was a simple one, a memorable family trip, a chance for a child to see wild animals up close, and a break from the routine of daily life. The park offered the thrill of being in close proximity to dangerous predators, all while being protected by the metal shell of their car. The dream shattered in an instant of pure arrogance. After a heated argument with her husband, Zhao stormed out of the passenger seat of the car, slamming the door behind her. She walked around to the driver's side, completely ignoring the park's explicit and repeated warnings to never exit the vehicle. As she stood by the driver's door, a Siberian tiger lunged from behind, grabbing her and dragging her away into the enclosure. Panic erupted. Zhao's husband immediately jumped out of the car to try and help his wife, followed by Zhao's mother. While the husband hesitated, the mother ran directly towards the tiger in a desperate, instinctual attempt to save her daughter. This heroic but tragic act would cost her everything. Park rangers rushed to the scene, but it was too late. While they were able to save Zhao, who suffered severe injuries, her mother was attacked and killed by another tiger. The investigation confirmed that the park's rules were clear and visible throughout the enclosure. The family later sued the park, but the authorities ultimately sided with the park, stating that the tragedy was a direct result of the victim's negligence. The tragic irony is that in her fit of anger, Zhao not only sealed her own fate of being mauled, but also directly caused the death of her mother, who died trying to save her from her own reckless decision. She opened the car door out of anger, and the tiger saw an opportunity. It was a horrifying lesson in why rules, especially in a tiger enclosure, apply to everyone. Zhao survived, but her mother paid the ultimate price for her daughter's momentary and fatal belief that the rules did not apply to her. Her last mistake was not just getting out of the car. It was believing her anger was more important than her safety. Case 2. Catherine Chappell. Catherine Katie Chappell, a 29-year-old American film editor known for her work on the hit series Game of Thrones, was on a conservation mission in South Africa. On June 1, 2015, she visited the popular Lion Park near Johannesburg, a drive-through safari park that allows tourists to get up close with lions from their vehicles. For Chappell, this was more than just a tourist trip. It was a chance to contribute to a cause she was passionate about, wildlife conservation. She was raising money to protect animals, and this visit was meant to be a highlight of her trip, a moment to connect with the majestic creatures she was working to save. The turn came when a desire for a better photo overshadowed the park's strict safety rules. Despite numerous signs and verbal warnings to keep car windows closed at all times, Chappell, or her tour guide, rolled down the passenger side window to get a clearer shot of a lioness. In that moment of vulnerability, the lioness lunged, biting Chappell through the open window. The attack was swift and brutal. The lioness bit Chappell in the neck and shoulder, causing fatal injuries. Her tour guide, who was also injured in the attack, frantically tried to stop the bleeding and get her to safety, but the damage was too severe. She bled to death before emergency services could provide meaningful assistance. The investigation revealed that the park had clear and repeated warnings about the dangers of opening windows. The park manager, confirmed that visitors are constantly reminded of the rules and that this was not the first incident of its kind. The tragic event was a direct consequence of ignoring these life-saving protocols. The irony is deeply tragic. Chappelle, a visual effects editor from the world of film where every detail is meticulously planned and controlled for safety, died because she or her guide ignored the most basic safety rule. She had an eye for detail in her work, but in that critical moment, she missed the one detail that mattered most. The car window had to stay closed. Her passion for wildlife led her to Africa, but a simple, avoidable mistake cut her life short. It's a devastating reminder that no photograph is worth your life, and that the laws of nature are absolute, even for those who work to protect it. Case 3. Zhang Liu Juan. On July 26, 2015, 30-year-old Zhang Liu Juan was finishing a shopping trip with her young son at a mall in Jingzhou, China. They approached the top of an escalator, a mundane end to a normal day. But a hidden danger was waiting for them. The dream was simply a safe return home after a day out. For Xiang, it was about being a mother, holding her son's hand, and navigating the simple, everyday world of a shopping mall. There was no reason to suspect that a routine ride on an escalator would be her last. As they reached the top of the escalator, Xiang stepped onto the metal floor plate at the landing. It gave way beneath her. In the horrifying moments that followed, captured on the mall's CCTV, she began to fall into the escalator's machinery. Her maternal instincts took over, and she pushed her son forward into the arms of two mall employees who were standing nearby. While her son was safe, Xiang was swallowed by the escalator. The machine continued to run, pulling her deeper into its grinding gears. The employees who had just saved her son tried desperately to pull her out, but they were no match for the power of the machine. She was crushed to death, her body trapped in the mechanism for hours before it could be recovered. The investigation uncovered a shocking level of negligence. It was revealed that maintenance workers had recently worked on the escalator and had forgotten to secure the metal plate. Even more damning, the two mall employees who saved her son had discovered the loose plate just minutes before the incident, but failed to shut down the escalator or properly warn shoppers. The irony here is a tragic cocktail of human instinct and systemic failure. Xiang's final act was one of selfless love, saving her child at the cost of her own life. This heroic act stands in stark contrast to the gross negligence of the mall and its employees, who knew there was a problem and did nothing. She placed her trust in a system that was fundamentally and fatally broken. The floor literally disappeared from under her feet. Her death was not just a freak accident, but the direct result of a chain of human errors, a horrifying example of what happens when warnings are ignored and safety is treated as an afterthought. From a fatal burst of anger in a tiger park to a deadly photo op with a lion and a shopping mall escalator that became a death trap, we've seen how ignoring the rules can have the most horrific consequences. But what happens when the danger isn't a wild animal or a faulty machine, but the deadly pursuit of the perfect selfie? Stick around, because after the break, we're heading to the cliffs of Australia, where one woman's quest for the perfect photo led to her final fatal fall. Case 5. Sandra Manuela da Costa Macedo. Sandra Manuela da Costa Macedo, a Portuguese teacher and mother of two, had recently moved to Panama City for a new job. On October 12, 2018, she was on the balcony of her 27th floor apartment in the city's upscale El Cangrejo neighborhood. Having just moved to a new country, Sandra's dream was to build a better life for herself and her family. She was a teacher, a mother, and a woman embarking on a new chapter. The photos she was taking were likely meant to capture the excitement of her new life in a vibrant city. With her back to the abyss, Sandra sat on the balcony railing to take a selfie. Construction workers on a nearby building watched in horror. They shouted at her, warning her of the danger, but she seemed to ignore them, her attention fixed on her phone. As she held out a selfie stick to capture the perfect angle, a gust of wind caught her, and she lost her balance. The construction workers' shouts turned to screams as they watched her fall 27 floors to the ground below. The entire horrifying event was captured on their phones. Paramedics rushed to the scene, but she was killed instantly on impact. The footage of her fall quickly went viral, a gruesome warning to the world. The investigation concluded that her death was a tragic accident caused by her own reckless behavior. The video evidence was undeniable. The authorities could only issue a statement urging people not to risk their lives for a selfie. The incident became a global symbol of the dangers of social media-driven stunts. The irony is heartbreaking. A woman who had moved to a new country to build a better life lost it all for a single, fleeting photo. A mother and a teacher, roles associated with responsibility and care, died in an act of extreme recklessness. She left her home for a new beginning, but found a tragic end. Her final photo was not of the beautiful city skyline, but of her own tragic and entirely preventable death. It's a chilling reminder that the quest for the perfect online moment can have the most devastating real-world consequences. Case 6. The Yosemite Influencers. Meenakshi Murthy and her husband, Vishnu Viswanath, both 29, were a travel blogging couple from India living in the United States. They ran a popular blog called Holidays and Happily Ever Afters, where they documented their adventures. In October 2018, their journey took them to the iconic Taft Point in Yosemite National Park. Their dream was to live a life of adventure and inspire others to travel. They were the quintessential modern couple, sharing their picture-perfect moments with thousands of followers. Taft Point, with its breathtaking, unguarded cliffs, was the perfect backdrop for their brand of risky, awe-inspiring content. The turn is a moment of profound and tragic irony. Just months before their trip to Yosemite, Meenakshi had posted a photo on their Instagram account with a caption that warned about the dangers of daredevil selfies. She wrote, "Is our life worth just one photo?" Yet, on October 24, 2018, they set up their tripod near the edge of Taft Point, seemingly ignoring their own advice. Other tourists later found their camera and tripod abandoned at the edge of the cliff. A search was launched, and their bodies were discovered 800 feet below the viewpoint. They had fallen to their deaths, likely while trying to capture another one of their signature risky photos. The investigation found no evidence of foul play. It was a tragic accident, a case of a couple who pushed the limits for their art and finally went too far. The discovery of their bodies was a grim conclusion to a story that had been all about life and adventure. The irony is almost unbelievable. The very people who had publicly warned against the dangers of chasing the perfect photo died doing exactly that. Their own words became a haunting epitaph to their story. It's a powerful and tragic example of the disconnect between online persona and real-world risk. She warned her followers that no photo was worth their life, yet she and her husband died for the perfect view. Their story is a chilling cautionary tale about the pressures of influencer culture and the deadly allure of a single spectacular shot. From a deadly fall at a famous lookout to a fatal plunge from a high-rise balcony and a couple of influencers who became a tragic example of their own warning, the quest for the perfect photo can be a deadly one. But what happens when a night of partying and a desire for a sunrise selfie lead to a mysterious disappearance? Stay with us, because we're heading back to the cliffs of Australia, where one model's final photo shoot ended in the dark waters of the Pacific. Case 7. Madeline Davis. Madeline Davis, a 21-year-old British makeup artist and Instagram model, was on a backpacking adventure in Australia. On the night of January 11, 2020, she went to a party with friends in a suburb of Sydney. In the early hours of the next morning, the group decided to head to the nearby Diamond Bay Reserve to watch the sunrise. For Madeline, this was the trip of a lifetime. Her social media was filled with edgy and beautiful photos of her travels. The dream was to capture another one of those perfect moments, a stunning sunrise over the Pacific Ocean from a dramatic clifftop location. It was a photo that would surely get a lot of likes. Diamond Bay is known for its beautiful cliffs, but also for its dangers. There are fences and warning signs for a reason. But Madeline and her friends climbed over a fence to get to a more secluded and dangerous spot on the cliff edge. As the sun began to rise, she was sitting on the edge of the cliff, taking photos. It wasn't until later that her friends realized she was gone. They raised the alarm, and a massive search was launched, involving helicopters, police, and marine rescue units. Hours later, her body was found in the water at the base of the cliffs. She had fallen more than 30 meters to her death. The investigation concluded that her death was a tragic accident. She had been drinking at the party before heading to the cliffs, a factor that likely contributed to the fatal fall. The incident highlighted the known dangers of the location, which had become a notorious spot for Instagrammers seeking forbidden photos. The irony lies in the clash between the curated perfection of her online image and the brutal reality of her death. She was chasing a beautiful, serene sunrise photo, but the pursuit was reckless and ended in a violent, lonely death. She wanted likes, not a gravestone, but the culture of extreme photo-taking led her to exactly that. Her death was a tragic end to a young life full of promise. It's a stark reminder that the pressure to create a perfect online life can lead to the most imperfect and final of endings. Case 8. The German Tourist at World's End. In November 2018, a 35-year-old German tourist was on vacation in Sri Lanka. She was visiting the famous World's End viewpoint in Horton Plains National Park, a sheer cliff with a drop of nearly 1,200 meters. The location is known for its stunning views, but also for its treacherous conditions and clear warning signs. The dream was to experience one of Sri Lanka's most famous natural wonders and capture a memory of the breathtaking view. World's End is a bucket list destination for many travelers, and she was there to see it for herself. While posing for a photo near the edge of the cliff, she lost her balance. According to local media reports, she was walking backward to get a better frame for her photo when she slipped and fell. The ground was wet and misty, making the already dangerous cliff edge even more treacherous. She plunged into the abyss, a fall that was instantly fatal. A massive and difficult rescue operation was launched involving the Sri Lankan military, police, and local volunteers. They had to abseil down the treacherous cliff face to recover her body from the dense forest below. The investigation confirmed that her death was an accident caused by her own actions. She had ignored the warning signs and the obvious dangers of the location. The incident made international news, another tragic example of a tourist dying while trying to take a photo in a dangerous location. The name of the location, World's End, became a tragically literal title for her story. The ultimate irony is the mindset of so many tourists who see warning signs but believe they are the exception, that they can handle it. They see the danger, but they don't believe it applies to them. For this German tourist, a trip to the end of the world became just that. Her story is a final, fatal reminder that nature's warnings are not suggestions, and that a single misstep at the edge of the world is a mistake you only get to make once. From the edge of a cliff to the inside of a tiger's den, these stories are a horrifying testament to what happens when people believe the rules don't apply to them. They are tragic reminders that warning signs are written in blood, and that a moment of arrogance can lead to a lifetime of regret for those left behind. The pursuit of a perfect photo, a moment of anger, or the belief that you are invincible can all have the same fatal end. What's the most reckless thing you've ever seen someone do for a photo? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more stories of people who paid the ultimate price for their last mistake, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Karen's Last Mistake. Join us next time as we explore the most shocking deaths on public transport. Until then, stay safe, and remember that the rules are there for a reason.